And he's going to. What happens when you hold a high-profile political debate between a political novice debating for her very first time ever and a former 3-term congressman and former 2-term governor? If you guessed she would wipe the floor with him, you'd be correct. And so it was last night in Charleston, South Carolina, when Democratic businesswoman Elizabeth Colbert Bush faced off with disgraced former South Carolina Governor Republican Mark Appalachian Trail Sanford, who's attempting to make a political comeback 4 years after revealing an extramarital affair with his Argentinian mistress, now his fiancée. And with the first congressional district special election just 8 days away, this debate had no shortage of memorable moments. Here to discuss them all, I'm pleased to be joined by a panel among panels, my non-experts, comedian and author of Liz Free or Die. You're the one and only Liz Winstead. I am. Editor-in-chief of thecontributor.com, Miss Tina Dupuy, and actor and comedian Sherrod Small, who has literally appeared on every TV show in the history of the medium, including Blansky's Beauties.
Yes.
With Nancy Walker.
Good. It was a good part. No small part, small role. Okay.
Right on. No, a lot of anybody under 50 didn't get that, and I'm under 50, so I don't get it. A lot of good moments in this debate last night, not the least of which that it's shot like a snuff film. I don't think they're used to having televised debates in South Carolina because there's never a Democrat running against a Republican. But none are getting more attention than this moment in the debate.
When we talk about fiscal spending and we talk about protecting the taxpayers, it doesn't mean you take that money we saved and leave the country for a personal purpose.
She went there, Governor Sanford.
I couldn't hear what she said. Repeat it. I didn't hear. I'm sorry.
Answer the question.
What was the question? Okay, but anyway.
Yeah, she didn't just go there. She went there, bought real estate, and sent him a postcard. She connected his scandal to a real taxpayer issue. So, was this an appropriate way to remind everybody what everybody is already thinking about? Liz?
Yeah. I think all's fair in love in the Appalachian Trail. And yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, the fact that he, in that debate, 16 times referred to Nancy Pelosi as though she was there, I was so hoping that Elizabeth Colbert would just write, "I'm not Nancy Pelosi," on a sign and tape it to the front of her podium. It would have been amazing.
Mm-hmm. But Nancy Pelosi as the pejorative, like Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah,
and then
always.
Everybody in the crowd was like, hiss, ooh, boo,
yeah.
Nancy.
It was like a noun, a verb, and Nancy Pelosi.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But Sherrod, I mean, don't you think that this was her trump card, everyone knew it, and I think she actually executed it in a very artful way.
She played it well. She played her hand well, but see, he is used to ignoring women who are not from Argentina. So he just played it like his wife and heard not a word.
Well, Colbert Bush directed her criticism at Sanford's misuse of taxpayer money and not the affair. So one questioner did bring it back to his affair, relating it to former Governor Sanford's one-time vote to impeach President Clinton. Take a look.
Man.
Governor Sanford, when you were in Congress, right, you voted for the Defense of Marriage Act and to impeach President Clinton for an extramarital affair. Would you vote those ways again?
Well, I would reverse the question to you. And I would say this. Do you think that President Clinton should be condemned for the rest of his life based on a mistake that he made in his life?
That's the big question about hypocrisy, and he didn't really answer it, did he, Liz?
He didn't really actually reverse the question, because the question would be, would Bill Clinton vote for me? Like,
exactly.
technically, for what he was setting up, it would be, would Bill Clinton vote to impeach me? And the answer would be no.
Well, the real question would be if Bill Clinton used taxpayer funds to cross the border to see Monica Lewinsky, got caught, had to resign the presidency, and left his wife and abandoned his child to get engaged to Monica Lewinsky, and then wanted you to vote for him again, would you vote?
Okay, but I think that the thing here is that Sanford is a Republican, and it doesn't count when a Republican does it. We're talking about Bill Clinton, who's not a Republican.
Well,
David Vitter still has his seat. It doesn't matter when a Republican does it. The rules are.
I think she's right,
They're completely different.
He had opportunity right there to say, you know what? Back then, I was a hater. I hated on him. I was wrong. I apologize, Bill.
But I also think too that, yeah. But just to kind of pile on what everybody here is saying is, it seems to me that these conservatives, If you say God has forgiven me,
Right,
then you're
you got
forgiven.
it. Right,
Not
exactly.
the person who I did it to. No, you could make all the amends in the world.
Who has
And-
clearly not forgiven him. And
Yeah.
if you pridefully assume to speak for God, you will win points despite your heresy.
Yeah. And also, you know what? The people who aren't having affairs aren't doing a very good job either. So I don't really think
You know what I
it
learned from
matters.
this? I really learned from this. If you're a complete twit, an American twit, and you go overseas, you can score with a really hot foreign woman if she thinks your twittiness is because of a language issue and you don't speak the same language. His fiancée has no idea what a dim bulb he really is.
You
but she
explained
thinks-
me in Amsterdam.
Didn't we all do that in college?
When criticized about changing his position on dredging the Charleston
Staten
port,
Island.
Sanford thought he could score a point on Colbert Bush, and it completely backfired. Take a look at this.
Mark Sanford, my opponent, voted against dredging for the port, voted against the bridge, and voted against everything, and he was the only congressman to do that.
I would just humbly suggest on that one that if it was not simply a political statement at this moment, I don't think that you would have written me a $500 check after I left the United States Congress as I began to run for governor.
You said you would support trade. You said you would support the dredging. You said you would support all the things that we needed. And in fact, you didn't tell the truth. You turned around and did the opposite.
Fight.
That was his trump card. You know that check that she wrote him was his adultery moment. He could throw in her face, and she completely turned the tables. Liz?
Well, I think, look, I gave money to John Edwards, so I completely
That's
can relate.
perfect.
It's the only
Yes.
person that I've ever given money to as a political candidate. I usually just give to charities.
Don't
and I
ever
gave
say that on
to
television.
John Edwards. I don't give to political candidates. I give to, I just don't. So, and I gave to John Edwards, and boy, did I want that money back. So I know where she's coming from.
Tina?
This is the only guy who really benefited from Michael Jackson's death. Like that, him dying.
Yes.
Seriously, him
Yeah.
dying got him to
got the
shut
heat.
up because he wanted to go. He wanted to be a politician and go out there and start explaining himself and start telling people why this is awesome because he's really in love. He was going to bring his mistress on television, on national television with him, but then the king of pop died,
That's
and so
right.
it all went away.
That's right.
And so that's why this guy is even able to go on television, and we're even talking about him.
So
right
him
now.
and Tito benefited.
You got it.
First of all, where did they have this
Kumbaya.
debate?
They had it in the 1970s on Beta Camp.
It's like it's right before a spelling bee at a junior high school.
Yeah, and they used the transmission to send it to the future. You know, I think she actually gets points for that because she proved as a Democrat that she was willing to vote for another party.
Yeah.
He made her look even bipartisan in that.
Yeah,
it backfired on him in every way. Can he lose, Liz?
Yes.
Yeah, you think he can
I
lose in
think
South
he can.
Carolina?
I think what South Carolina desperately loves, and you look at Fritz Hollings and you look at the people that they've had in place, is somebody who is authentic. And she came right out and said, I am pro-choice, I am pro-marriage equality, I am these things. And then he just lobbed on, and I gave you money,
You know,
so I'm all in it.
I know a lot of cool Republicans in South Carolina. I think you may be right. We're going to take a quick break, and then one last word on Jason Collins. Now that he's helping people get over their sexual confusion, we're going to try and clear up some religious confusion of a few ESPN broadcasters coming up next. It's completely inappropriate, Sherrod. Welcome back to Viewpoint. One more quick question for my guests. Were y'all surprised that a current active NBA player came out of the closet, Liz Winstead?
No, everyone's coming out, or just be supporting of gays. It was just like I think it was just somebody said NBA's turn. Who's the guy? Then I mean, all the senators, everybody. No, I'm thrilled. More.
Right on, Tina.
What? He's not an incumbent Republican. You know, I mean, come on.
Sherrod?
I'm happy he came out, but I would be happy if he played on a team now and wasn't just a free agent on no team. He's really a current NBA player when he's playing. I'm a current comedian because I got shows tonight.
It's going to be fascinating to see who picks him up and what happens.
Exactly.